Good evening and welcome to the second night of the British Firework Championships from Plymouth, Britain's ocean city. If you were with us last night, you'll know that the first three teams really set a high standard. Well, tonight's three teams have promised to more than match what we saw last night. So we are in for a fantastic night of fireworks. We will guide you through it in the build-up. We'll find out about the teams that are performing tonight. We'll also go behind the scenes and see how they set up their displays. And then throughout tonight's displays, we'll have expert guidance on what to look out for. Wherever you're watching tonight, whether it's among the tens of thousands of people here on the Hoe and the waterfront, or out on the water itself, or the coastline around Plymouth Sound, or wherever you're watching around the world on this YouTube feed, welcome to Plymouth. You are in for a brilliant night of fireworks. And guiding us through the whole evening once again is Andy Hubble, who's Vice Chairman of the British Pyrotechnics Association, also a former champion here at Plymouth and a champion of champions. And the first thing we should talk about tonight, Andy, which is the big difference from last night, is the weather. How much of a difference is the weather going to make tonight to the displays?
It's going to be a very different night tonight compared to yesterday. Yesterday we had a lovely calm day. We had a lot of sun. People were getting sunburned because the wind was blowing against them. But tonight, look at those flags. Look at the wind blowing. We've got 29-mile-an-hour gusts forecast for tonight's show. It's been windy during the day, throughout the setup. It's been windier earlier this morning. But tonight, during firing time, we could have some very interesting situations. Wind is the fireworks enemy, okay? It's not going to affect tonight's shows, but ultimately, strong winds are something that can affect a fireworks display. We can fire in rain, we can fire in snow, we could fire in the fog if we wanted to, but one problem that we get is with strong winds. Fortunately, they're blowing out to sea, and so we should still get a good view, but there's all kinds of problems it can, and unexpected things may happen in tonight's shows.
Okay, so we are going to keep an eye out for any effect that the weather might have on the firing tonight of the three displays. And I should just say, we have direct contact with launch control, so we will hear immediately if there are any issues with the wind or any issues with any of the firings tonight, and we can let you know straight away because we've got that live and direct contact with launch control. What are you hearing at the moment from launch site, Andy? How are they feeling down there?
Everything's going very calmly. They are doing their final checks. They will be checking in with the Queen's Harbour Master and making sure that all the boats are in the right location and nobody is in the keep-out zone that we have out there. It's always amazing coming to Plymouth and standing and watching all the little boats and the craft out on the sea on a still night. The reflections are amazing, and if you've not seen it before, you need to come to Plymouth just to see that for when the Firework Championships are on. But they'll clear it all, and then we can get the competition on way. Hopefully, I believe we are on time for a 9:30 start.
We will go behind the scenes in a few minutes' time and look at the setup down on the Mountbatten breakwater. But first of all, take us through the lineup down there tonight, because the lineup of firing, the order of firing, is slightly different tonight on the breakwater because of the weather conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night, if you remember, we started the shows, we fired them from left to right. So the one that was nearest the land fired first, and the one that was on the lighthouse end of the breakwater fired last. Now tonight, because of the wind direction, the adjudicator and competition manager from TESA, the Event Services Association, have taken the decision to change the order that they fire in. The teams are still firing in the order on the running order, but now the first show to fire will be from the lighthouse end, and the last one will be on the land end. And the only thing that would change that would be a sudden change in wind direction, and that's so that we're not firing live sparks and debris going over the next show. It should blow it all away from it, hopefully. But you only need a gust in a different direction, and you know as well as I do, down here in Plymouth, we can get those gusts, and we have experienced some this afternoon. A change in direction, and that could have sparks going over another competitor's show, and that's where the interesting things. In the past, we've had other shows actually start to light during somebody else's competition entry. And as you imagine, all kinds of problems.
We hope that won't happen tonight. We will find out about tonight's teams in a moment. But for those who missed it last night, we were treated to some of the best fireworks in Britain yesterday from our 3 teams. Andy, you've gone through and picked out some of the highlights. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from last night's. This is the UK Firework Company, first of all. Take us through their display, Andy.
Look at this lovely single shot. It's a red, white and blue sequence and shapes, and the smiley face shells there, which the crowd absolutely loved. And look at those colours down below. Really strong and bright. But the smiley face shell's very popular. I think we'll see some more tonight. And here's the UK Firework Company's finale. What a huge brocade crown finale. This one we saw at the end of the show. We'll talk more about that later. But look at that, filling the sky. Absolutely filling the sky, reflecting on the water. And very interesting, going straight up there. And the aim here is to create as much width as you can with the fireworks.
So this was then Distant Thunder, our second display last night. Beautiful displays.
Look at those shells going off in the middle. So that's a crackling one. But these next ones that come up that you see, beautiful effects. Wow, look at that. The beautiful strobe in the center. We really enjoyed Distant Thunder. They gave us lots of different things, some more of those shells there. I did really enjoy those. And here now is a strobe sequence, absolutely filling the sky. Look at it, silver strobe, and then shells with what we call a pistol in them. Red in the center is the pistol, and then the silver strobe on the outside. There's some red strobe shells as well. Lovely sequence, and they're doing it down below as well with those red strobe barrages that we can see firing off. Really very special.
And Distant Thunder will have been very pleased with this display, I'd imagine. How are they? Oh, these were the falling leaves, actually. These were really impressive, weren't they?
Yeah, they did a great job with their falling leaves. You can get them in so many different colours. Here we can see red, green, and a bit of blue. But look at the top. They've just changed colour. There's silver falling leaves there. Really, really nice effect. There's some green ones as well. So they're firing barrages, but they're also firing shells as well.
Hanging in the sky for several seconds after the initial explosion. Really impressive display, this from Distant Thunder. How would they have felt from this display last night? They must have been really pleased.
I think they'd be very happy, but I love this bit. This was a highlight for me. Look at these silver waterfalls and how far down they go. Look at that, straight into the water. Now, that wouldn't be a normal desirable effect for most sites, because remember, most of the time we're firing a display over land. We're fortunate at Plymouth here that we can go down to the water. So going down to here, it works brilliantly. Lovely, lovely effect.
And now Shockwave, our final team last night. I have to say, a lot of people have said on social media that number 3 display last night, this one was their favourite. Take us through some of your highlights, Andy.
Well, this is a team that did a finale at the beginning of their show. We're watching that finale now with the gold brocades there. So this is what the first team 1 did at the end. They're now doing this at the very beginning of the show. Look at the width there that's being created by those shells. Really very special. And I mean, this is a finale sequence. Love that. And salutes and bangs.
So they kicked off and set the standard very high right at the beginning of their display, but they maintained a high standard with 10 separate sequences, didn't they, last night?
Yeah, absolutely. 10 sequences, about a minute each. Look at these shells, red, white, and blue sequence, but we get what we call the ghost shell. Can you see that red tracing through the shape of the ball there in the sky? Beautiful ghost shells, really, really lovely. Very special show. And here, this is the finale. And wasn't it a good one?
Now, and this finale just built and built and built to an explosion of pure white that filled the sky at the end. If you didn't see this last night, just wait and see how this unfolds right to the end.
There we go, the silver tails going up, that colour change to silver. And then here come the bangs.
Extraordinary, wasn't it?
Filling the sky.
And there we go. That was Shockwave Pyrotechnics.
Silver strobe right at the end. Loved it.
Now, the challenge will be for tonight, having seen what was put on last night, the pressure is now on tonight's teams to at least match that. You've been chatting to them, and I know we'll go through the individual displays in a few minutes' time. Overall, though, from what you gained by talking to them today, how are they all feeling down there, having seen last night's competition?
They're all feeling very positive, but I tell you what, Justin, we got a game on tonight. We really have. There are 3 huge fireworks displays. They seem to have gone right up to the weight limits of the amount of powder that you can have in the fireworks. But 3 completely different firework displays from 3 different firework designers. We're going to see some beautiful, high-quality products at Plymouth tonight. Some of the products have never been seen in the UK before. I can't wait to see these shows.
So we've got some really fantastic fireworks to come. The standard was set, as we saw last night, but tonight they're hopefully going to take it to another level. Did we see the winning team last night, or will we see the winning team tonight? Don't forget to let us know with your cheers here in Plymouth, or join in the chat alongside the live stream on the Visit Plymouth YouTube channel. So, what's been going on down at Mountbatten to get ready? This is the location. This is where they launch from. A huge site surrounded by water. They're given a set area each to set out their displays, and then they fire in turn. And as Andy was telling us earlier on tonight, a different firing order. They're going to fire from the far end first, from where the lighthouse is, and then back down the breakwater. So the last team will be firing closest to the land, and that's simply because of the weather conditions. So what's it been like setting up here in Plymouth this year? We've been down to Mountbatten Breakwater to see some of the teams as they get ready.
Well, we're on Mountbatten Pier, and this is what it's all about. It probably doesn't look like the sort of firework that you'd be familiar with on your November the 5th firework parties. Andy, tell us a bit about this one. What have we got here?
This is an aerial shell, so it's fired like a cannonball high up into the sky, and when it gets at the peak of its flight, it bursts and releases hundreds of thousands of stars. And this particular one that you're holding is a brocade crown with these red things, which we call them a tail. So when that rises up into the sky, it's got a big golden trunk going up. An amazing firework, this one. It's the kind of firework that I'd expect to see in a finale. But that's a 6-inch shell, really very much one of the biggest that you'll see in the display.
And this is going to be part of the 3rd display tonight. Be very interesting to see how this is used. What are they actually doing here now, last-minute preparations? Take us through the process of getting ready for tonight.
So there'll have been a lot of preparation that goes on before the fireworks display. They'll have been preparing the fireworks in their workshops, putting the firework cues onto the fireworks so that they know which cue to plug the individual firework into. Then when they're on the site, they set up their equipment, they load the fireworks into what we call mortar tubes, and this is a firing rack that they've set up here, and then they will connect them into the computerized firing system, which knows when to fire the fireworks at exactly which time. And then the final thing is they put foil over. This is a sticky foil tape, and that means that the firework is fireproof, because we've got 3 teams every night out on the breakwater, and there's lots of sparks going on everywhere. We don't know which way the wind will blow those sparks, so to protect each display they use foil so they don't all start lighting each other.
Let's talk about the angles. These are all very upright, but a part of this display, without giving away too many of their secrets, over here we've got some that are angled. Presumably they're going to fire off to the side. Tell us a bit about how the angle works on these.
Well, this team in particular have got 5 different sites, all at slightly different angles. So there's outside is a very wide angle, then there's a slightly more subtle, and behind us here, the site, they're firing straight up. And so when you're looking at it from the judging position, you can see the big spread across the sky. It'd be quite boring if every single firework went straight up into the sky. So what the teams try and do is create the width of the display, and you do that by having angled firing racks.
Well, let's take a bit of a look at some of the equipment that's used. You've got a firing box there, Andy. Tell us a bit about how this would be wired up tonight.
So each firework has 2 wires, and they'll go into a red and a black. You can see there are numbers along these which tell you which are the cues to put them in. And the great thing about firing systems like this, I'm holding here a cable that's just got 2 wires on it, and this is quite a robust, heavy duty, and these are what weave in and out of the firing system and connect all of these boxes together.
So 2 wires could potentially launch how many here? What's 30 odd fireworks?
32 fireworks on this one.
Wow.
But equally you could have multiple fireworks connected to a single cue. So there's quite a lot of firepower just inside this little box.
Well, this setup here shows the range of sizes of fireworks. I mean, look at this little one here, the 3-inch one. You've got what there, Andy, a 7-inch?
This is a 7-inch, and right over here, a huge Spanish 8-inch shell, which, you know, the size of the burst between them from a 3-inch shell right the way up to the largest size that we allow the competitors to use out in the competition, quite different, but all essential, because you can put far more of these up in the air than you can with a great big 8-inch shell like this. But equally, the size of the burst from something like this might be 200 meters across. The size of the burst for something like this may only be 75.
And in terms of where they all come from, the different countries, because I know different countries have a slightly different style of firework. What have we got here?
So these two products are Chinese.
Yeah.
Chinese fireworks have come along in the quality of the bursts and the quality of the manufacture. Health and safety is very strict out there. Manufacturing processes are really advanced now. And so the Chinese products are excellent.
Tell us about the number of tubes, though, on average. I mean, you said about the size of each area that's used. Is there a limit? Is there a number that everyone uses in terms of the number of tubes, or can they use as many as they like?
There's no limit on the number of tubes, except there are limits on the actual total weight of explosive powder that a team is allowed to use. There has to be a yardstick and a fair measure that every team operates to. So there's an upper level of that. And so really, it's down to them as to how many of this size they put in versus how many of that size. But something like this is going to contain several kilos of powder, and it's going to use up quite a bit of your allowance. So it's just getting it right, and that's part of the skill of designing the show.
Well, back here live on stage, we're joined now by two very special guests. Pierre Lebert, who's the mascot for Brittany Ferries, one of the main sponsors of this year's British Firework Championships, and being upstaged, it's the Lord Mayor of Plymouth, Mark Share. Give them a warm welcome. Now, Pierre Lebert, first of all, let me ask you, I know some animals get quite frightened by fireworks. Are you looking forward to tonight? I think they cut your microphone. Poor old Pierre Lebert. But we can see from his actions that he's looking forward to tonight. How about you, Lord Mayor? How are you looking forward to tonight?
I think it's going to be a fantastic night tonight. Good evening, Plymouth. Hello to all of our visitors and our holiday makers. Welcome to the second night of the British Firework Championships.
What does it mean to Plymouth to host such a prestigious event?
It's a huge privilege for us here in Plymouth, but what better way could we have of highlighting our wonderful Hoe and our fantastic marine park out there. What a fantastic venue.
And it's been home to the British Firework Championships for, what, 26 years in total?
This is our 26th year.
And this is a year of firsts, despite the fact you've had all this experience hosting it. Another year of firsts, because we've got a panel of youngsters this year joining the judges. Tell us a bit more about that.
We certainly have. We have a panel of youngsters this year, the care experienced young persons, and they're judging the fireworks show last night and tonight for the Young Persons Award ceremony later on this evening. So we're looking forward to that to see what they've chosen.
And the other first is, and it's a brilliant addition to what we're doing, is signing from British Sign Language. So another first for this show. Thank you very much to all the team from BSL doing that for us.
It is really, really important that we expand this show to include as many people as we possibly can out there. So I'm really pleased that tonight that we have the British Sign Languaging team here talking us through the show.
And of course, we should mention how important it is that the sponsors are helping really to make this show possible, including Pierre's company.
Absolutely. This is a free event in Plymouth. And thank you hugely to Brittany Ferries, who have sponsored this award tonight, and others in the background. Really, really important for us. Thank you very much, Brittany Ferries.
Have a lovely evening viewing the fireworks, both of you. Take care, Pierre Lebert. Would you please give a warm welcome and a thank you to Pierre Lebert and the Lord Mayor of Plymouth. Thank you very much indeed. Have a good evening. Hopefully, everyone has got a great view or has got a position ready to watch the fireworks in about 9 minutes' time. We're just 9 minutes away. Thousands of people here on the Hoe. So let's find out a little bit about the teams that we've got tonight performing for you and the order that they will perform in. We've got Andy Hubble back with us. Take us through the schedule then for tonight, Andy, and remind us first of all how these teams were chosen and the order they were chosen in.
Well, the teams are chosen by drawing them from the hat, and there's a very important thing that the teams want to know, and that's their firing order. There's a psychological thing about firing last or firing first. They'd all like to fire last if they could, but in order to be fair, in the past we've done it with live streams, draws from the mayor on the radio show. So it's all very clear and very open, and everybody that is here today has been put in there. They'll have only learned their position a short while ago.
So this is the lineup for tonight. So we've got Skyburst, the fireworks company, then Pyrovision, and then Electrify, Pyrotechnics. Tell us just a little bit about each one, first of all, where they're from, and a little bit of background to them. So Skyburst, first of all.
Skyburst Fireworks Company is a well-known name within the industry. They're from Bristol, and they were founded in 1982. And the guy that runs it, Alan Christie, quite a character within the industry, really nice chap. He was chatting to me about their show later, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. Great company, and very experienced at Plymouth as well. And team 2 is Pyrovision. Again, another company that is very well known within the UK industry. A lot of history, a lot of work that they have done in their time. They're based in Spalding in Lincolnshire, and they were founded in 1994. Great company there. And the third company, Electrify Pyrotechnics. Electrify Pyrotechnics was founded in 2017. They're based up in the Peak District. A lot of experience in their company. They have people there that have worked in different companies as well, and they really know their trade. So 3 amazing shows, I think, from people that know how to put on a display.
We will go into the detail of each display in just a moment, but we're going to meet the teams before each of their displays. So let's start by meeting the team behind Skyburst.
I'm Alan Christie. I'm the director of Bristol-based Skyburst, the Firework Co. Tonight we'll be showcasing some fabulous Spanish and Italian material, some wonderful colours, some fabulous noise effects, and we're also resurrecting a very old traditional set piece, which I hope everybody will enjoy. So have a great show and enjoy yourselves this evening.
So that's an introduction from Skyburst. Before we talk about their display, what's the latest from launch control and the final checks that are going on down at the breakwater?
The firing site is clear and ready, and more importantly, the Queen's Harbour Master has given the green light for the competition to commence on time at 9:30.
So we are just about 5 minutes away, if we keep to schedule, from the first display tonight. Before that, let's talk about team number 1, Skyburst. Tell us a bit about what they are planning to do tonight, the sort of things that we should be looking out for.
Well, they're opening the show with a pagoda-style shell. It's just one shell, and then they're going to repeat that a few times, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. We will have to look and see if we can spot this pagoda-style shell. Going into a Japanese-style pillar mine sequence where we're going to get colour changes from blue to red. The Japanese make some of the world's best fireworks. If you ever go to Japan, you need to go and see the fireworks. Japanese style that he's got in that, and then a fabulous Italian mosaic shell, which goes from violet to orange and lemon. Then moving into something that I think is a personal favourite, he's got a Spanish farfallas section. The farfallas shells are a shell that has lots of coloured stars in the middle, and then kind of like whirling silver ring effects that come out in a ring. Look out for those. They are beautiful, one of my favourites. And then something very interesting, a set piece. Now, a set piece, I think in the most simple terms, you would think of something like a Catherine wheel. And in bigger terms, it might be a big sign that has a message on it, or it might be a picture. There's all kinds of set pieces. And they have a set piece, 6-metre poles with 8-meter fountains that were silver and blue in a lattice shape in 5 different positions. It's a risky choice. I have to say, a risky choice. And the reason is there's about 300 meters between the firing site and where the judges are located. If you think of an ice cream van, which you can see out on the Hoe, when it's on the other side, well, it's very, very small. Alan Christie is a real expert at this competition, so he will have thought this through. But it is a risk as to whether it looks big and impressive or not. But also, they have an Italian wolf mine sequence with shells and then whistles. Listen for the howl. It's a very classic wolf-like howl in there. Smiley faces, sad faces, and cat faces. Yes, I said it right. Cat faces. Look out for the cat faces. I can tell you, Alan Christie is a cat lover. So it doesn't surprise me that he's got cat faces in there. A false finale, and then his finale in the show is what we call a Corolla to blue, which is a kind of golden effect with blue stars. I think we're in for a treat.
Wow, there's a lot to look out for. So a set piece, smiley faces, sad faces, cat faces. And did you say a sort of double ending, a sort of false ending and then a real ending?
Big crackling ending. We'll think it's all over, and then it's going to carry on a bit more.
Okay, so they're really going to up the ante tonight and try and match last night's high standard. And you mentioned the judges. Just remind us, for those who weren't with us last night, what it is the judges are looking for. What overall style and sense are they judging their scores on from the displays?
They're looking at it from all points of view. They're looking at the angles, the symmetry, the different colors, the choice of effects, the width of the display, the rhythm of the display. We've got technical judges who are experts within the firework industry who'll be looking at different things than compared to the local lay judges. Really, they are covering all bases, the noise and everything.
And what we should point out as well is they do get a bit of a refresher before they judge the overall competition and the 2 nights. They will get a refresher of last night's display, so they're not having to do that from memory.
No, there's no disadvantage of firing on night 1 in this competition. They get to see the shows again, just like we do here. It's the same video that they actually watch, and they can see it and refresh it. And the idea is that you want the winning show to be the winning team, and that helps ensure a level playing field for everybody.
Now, we've probably got about a minute to go, I reckon, before the first display. So stand by, start looking out towards the Mountbatten breakwater. What are you hearing from launch control, and what will be happening there in the final few seconds now?
I've just had the 1-minute announcement in my ear. So, yeah, the firing system will be armed. Everything will be locked down, ready to go. The firing team will have stopped pacing up and down, waiting for the show to go off. And literally, they're just waiting for the final countdown from 10.
And I was going to say that there's the nerves at this point. Well, how would you be feeling if you were in their position with seconds to go now?
I've been doing fireworks all my career, but I still get nervous, and I still pace up and down. And it's only once the firework display starts firing do I actually relax and, calm down a little bit. For some people, it's only once the display's over. But here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Display 1, Skyburst. Well, what did we think of Skyburst? Let's hear it for Skyburst. What an amazing start to the second night of the British Firework Championships from Skyburst. They really did fill the sky with light and noise. Let's get Andy's initial reaction. What did you think?
Wow. Wow. We saw some really, really beautiful fireworks. Here we go, right from the start. They start with the red, the amber, and then the green shell, which signifies, and timing starts from the end of that green shell. They've got 10 minutes exactly. But this show was just full of everything. We saw some lovely shells going off. I enjoyed a lemon strobe, the trailing shells. Here we go. Lovely trails, but with silver strobe on the end of them. Absolutely beautiful there. Japanese pillar mines, which we really enjoyed. The color-changing sequences in those were beautiful. And they actually increased, didn't they? We started with 2 color changes, red and blue. And then we went through all the way in the end to a 4-color change. Spanish farfalla shells. We had multicolor and some beautiful European product, which I think we'll see in a moment.
I think it's worth noting, as we watch the playback here on stage, the effect of the wind and how much the fireworks were drifting from the easterly direction that the wind is coming from.
Yeah, we said that the wind is going to be a problem. A lot of these shells we were actually seeing as though they were fired from the firing site to the right, which of course doesn't exist, it's over the sea, but you can see them drifting there. And the wind causes a bit of a problem for them because you only need a change in the wind. Look at that, beautiful horsetails with the silver strobe on them. Absolutely, there's the pillar mines, red and blue going off. Just watching the color changes. I'm just hearing at the moment they're dealing with a small fire out on the breakwater. It's not unusual. It's windy out there, and it's going to fan any sparks. But a problem that we noticed during that show is that we saw that there was a small fire. Can you just see, just to the left there, it's a little bit hard to see, but there is a small little fire burning. And what it looked like is that it was burning on the firing site to the left. Now, of course, that's Pyrovision site, and that still has live fireworks. So it's a lot more hazardous to go and put that fire out, and they need to put it out because otherwise, you know, that display could start firing unexpectedly. But here we go. Look at this. Lovely, lovely shells, lovely shapes in the sky there. Some whirling effects. The shells are a farfalla shell. We see some really special farfalla shells coming up in a few minutes with some European product. There we go, look at that.
These are incredible, weren't they?
They are outstanding, and it wouldn't surprise me if they came from a manufacturer called Europa, a Spanish firm. They've got a branch here in the UK.
So the chances are we wouldn't have seen anything like that in the UK before. That's unusual.
No, we have seen those in there, but they really are a high-end product.
Okay.
They're a delight, aren't they, to the eyes? We just really enjoyed them. Looking through this, you know, some of the teams will have more general sequences, and they'll intersperse them with some amazing and really powerful things. I think this is a little bit more of a general sequence. There's a big burst going up in the sky. One of the problems that we did see with this show while we were watching it, there were just 1 or 2 spots where there was a slight loss of symmetry, a firework perhaps firing off to the right with nothing going to the left. The judges may have spotted that. They'll be doing their deliberations on this show at the moment. But overall, it was incredible, and those are very minor things, very minor.
You set out for us beforehand the things to look out for, and we were ticking them off. They pretty much hit the mark on all the things they promised to deliver. We saw as we went along, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. Lovely charcoal gold waterfalls with a silver strobe on the end. Actually going all the way down to the water. Really very, very special. You can't do that in most firing sites. That would be undesirable if you were in a field such as we had last summer, where you could set fire to things. But it's not a problem here, and the safety zones, the keep-out area for the fireworks, you can see that one firing off on the right on its own. I should say it's King's Harbour Master. I've been so used to saying Queen's Harbour Master for so many years.
Understandable.
But the Harbour Master keeps people And in fact, I've just heard that we've got the green light from the Harbour Master for show 2, which is great. But
so the fire is hopefully dealt with down there, so all systems go, hopefully, for Pyrovision in just a few minutes' time. And we should point out, for those who missed it last night, the rules on the duration of this. So it's 10 minutes per show, and it's got to be 10 minutes, and a 10-minute break before the next show.
Absolutely, 10 minutes exactly. And there's somebody with a stopwatch in competition control, timing it down to the second. And you can lose marks if you run over, but you can lose marks if you run short. You may run short if there's a cable on the firing system that gets blown through. An explosion like that, with the size of some of these fireworks, if they went off on the ground instead of the air, they could take a cable out. Your show may only run for 9 minutes.
How do you design a show like this to make sure that it runs to such a precise duration?
The computer software will do it all for you. That's the great thing. These teams go out there and they know that they're going to get 10 minutes. So it's not a problem with that. You just want to get all the way through. Now, this is that set piece sequence. And I said before the show that it's a risk doing a set piece, but Alan Christie knows what he's doing. He's worked here before. And actually, I think it worked. It looked really beautiful. It's a silver to blue. We couldn't really pick up the blue. But look, it's multi-level. There's things at ground level, there's things a bit higher up, and you've got shells bursting overhead.
And it really worked with the reflections on the water, this one, but that ongoing display right down at ground level as part of the set piece, it really worked on the waterfront there, didn't it?
If you don't know Plymouth, then what you won't know is that we are surrounded. You can see the hills behind. We're surrounded. It's an amphitheatre naturally for here. And everybody gets a great view, and everybody gets to see these reflections, which you can see here. It really is a very, very special place, and most people are elevated. Certainly up here on the Hoe, then we're looking down at the fireworks, and it's very special.
It is a very, very good place for a firework competition because it's a natural amphitheatre with vantage points right around Plymouth Sound and many, many vantage points out on the water. We've got some very impressive yachts out on the water tonight, super yachts as well, getting a really good view of the fireworks display. So overall, Skyburst, you think, will be pleased with how it went tonight in the weather conditions that they were contending with the strong winds?
I've just got to point out these beautiful shells, multicoloured shells, weren't there? We had some, and there were some even better ones that were later on in the show. Look at those. I mean, the colours are so vivid. So I think, yes, Skyburst will be very happy with that. They really did put in a massive effort, and we'll have to wait and see what the judges say.
We'll come back to the finale of this one in a moment, get your thoughts on their finale. Let's, first of all, find out about team number 2. So as far as we know from launch control at the moment, all systems go for Pyrovision, who are our next display team in just a few minutes' time. Quickly remind us who they are and where they're from.
So Pyrovision are from Spalding in Lincolnshire, a company that's been around for a long time, and they come with a lot of experience. Keith Webb, who is one of the people running it, with his son Max Webb as well, father and son effort. They have, between them, worked literally all over the world.
And I know they're very, very excited about their performance here tonight. Let's hear from them now. This is Pyrovision.
Hello, my name's Max from a company called Pyrovision. Officially our first year in Plymouth, which is very exciting. Tonight we've gone for a clean, crisp punctuation show. We've tried to be really symmetrical, clean breaks with the 3-inch, 4-inch and 5-inch above. We've got a lot of quiet stuff in there. We've really tried to incorporate quiet sections of the display. We've also not gone for your traditional finale, but I won't say what that is. I'll leave that for you guys to decide. But yeah, it's great to be in Plymouth, and thank you for having us, and hope you enjoy the show.
That's Pyrovision, but news just in from launch control. They're going to have to wait just a little bit longer, aren't they, Andy?
Yes, we have a 2-minute delay, approximately 2 minutes at the moment. I don't know whether that's due to a firing system issue or getting people out. In fact, I've just heard that they've now got back on track 30 seconds.
Ah, right, good. So we've got no delay, so hopefully we will get to see Pyrovision in a moment. Quickly, give us a couple of the highlights we need to look out
Big
for.
rolling rainbow sequence, falling leaves. They've storyboarded it, so you'll see unique effects during the show. Big dramatic sequence with brocade, lots of noise in the finale, and a new cake from Celtic Fireworks, UK supplier, which is being used here in the finale, and it's the first time in the UK. But here's the countdown: 7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's Pyrovision. Pyrovision finishing with a bang. What did we think, Plymouth? Let's get the expert view. Andy, what did you think of Pyrovision?
They loved it. We loved it. Lots to see in that show. Very different show. Different pace to some of the other shows that we've seen here in Plymouth, but some beautiful products. Lots of very interesting sequences and products that we spotted. Lots of this silver. Look at that gold glitter. What a wonderful, going with the blue as well, and then into the silver. We saw a silver strobe falling leaf sequence, and I don't know whether you noticed, but halfway through, we had the classic Plymouth finale, the big brocade crown finale. So now we've seen it at the beginning, at the end, and now tonight, thanks to Pyrovision, in the middle of the show. So finale in the middle of the show. And also, did you see the heart-shaped shells?
Yep, saw the heart shapes. Very popular here. They got a bit of a cheer when we saw the hearts go up.
And I think that's the first time that we've seen heart shapes in this year's competition. Swimming stars, red and blue, and the amazing finale, and those very special barrages down at the bottom. Huge amount of noise. That was a very, very impressive finale. Lots of noise, lots of big, wow fireworks.
And take us through the rhythm of that display, because they promised beforehand that there would be quieter moments. As we said, they really ended with a big bang, but there were quiet moments, so they had quite a rhythm to their show tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. They told us that they were going to storyboard the display. So what they were going to have is lots of separate sections, subtle colours, blues and oranges. We saw those. And they told us about mines, the rolling rainbow sequence that we saw at the start. Look at these. This is that silver strobe falling leaf. We've seen falling leaf on every show in here.
Very popular this year.
But these were lovely. These were absolutely lovely. Very, very bright. With red shells, with a nice light glitter trails just in the background. And then I remember they fired off some big silver strobe falling leaf shells at the end of this sequence right overhead that we'll see in a moment. But look at it light everything up. Look at it light up the hub. There's the big shells there.
And the show was drifting, as we said earlier on with the first show, drifting out across Plymouth Sound because of the strength of the wind. It was really noticeable again in this display, seeing the fireworks and the smoke moving across the sky.
And as usual, and it's not at all unusual in a windy day, it causes a number of fires. And in fact, the teams, there were about 4 or 5 fires that we counted after that show at the end of it, which are being dealt with by the crews out there. In fact, there was a fire restarted on the first show, and it's just because there's a breeze. They're fanning the embers and the actual hardware.
And people might be, alarmed to hear that fires are breaking out down there. As you say, it's not unusual, and there are safety measures in place. But what is it that's catching fire? Pieces of equipment, bits of debris? What is it exactly that's catching fire?
All it is, it looks bad from over here, but I can assure you it's pretty run-of-the-mill wherever you are in the world. All it is some of the fireworks are paper, cardboard-based boxes with lots of cardboard tubes in them, and they get very warm. And that heat continues building after the firework has functioned. And the wind, like we have tonight, with 29-mile-an-hour winds, it just fans them just like you would to start a fire, and it starts them. And the problem, and the reason they develop, is because we can't put them out during the display. It's too dangerous. It would be crazy. So they burn, and they can get quite big, but they're easily dealt with.
And hopefully they're under control again now and won't have an impact on our third and final display. Just remind us about the rules that the competitors have to follow in terms of the amount of explosive they use. Everyone has to use the same weight of explosive, but after that, what they do with it is entirely up to them.
These teams have, the rules say that you must use at least 400 kilos of powder. Now, when we weigh that, that's not 400 kilos of fireworks, it's 400 kilos of the actual explosive powder inside them. So 400 kilos of powder must be used, and a maximum of 550, over half a ton. And it's down to their choice as to where they go between that 400 and 550. They cannot go over it. They're given a they're giving a contribution towards their display, and they can then, if they want to supplement it and add in, and I've seen certainly some of our teams have put in a little bit of extra money into their shows tonight. But as a result of those fires that we were talking about and getting them put out safely, I've just been told that there will be a small delay to the start of Team 3 shows whilst they make sure that everything's safe, that the firing systems are working, and that the show for Team 3 will go as planned.
Okay, so possibly a couple of minutes delay before we see the final team tonight. Just looking back, though, at Pyrovision's display, we're watching the replay here on the stage, and our YouTube viewers seeing the replay as well. Overall, how will Pyrovision, the first time they've performed at this championship, I know they've put on displays in Plymouth before, at Music of the Night and places like that. First time they've been in this competition. How will they feel tonight now that their display is over?
I think that they'll be very happy with that, but I have to say that having competed here in Plymouth myself, it took us 5 times to be British Champion of Champions. And the first ones, you know, you're still learning things. Pyrovision are a very, very experienced company. Keith and Max, their career in fireworks, Max is obviously Keith's son and younger, but, you know, their career is things. But coming to a competition is a very different task. But amazing show, really did things differently. Here we see the pillar mines. We can contrast those pillar mines with the previous displays where they were using colour changing, and they were firing a little bit quicker in the other
they've got
displays.
the hearts here on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We've just been given the 4-minute warning now for
We're
Team
4
3.
minutes away from our final team tonight, Electrify. We'll find out about them in just a moment as we continue to watch Pyrovision's display from a few minutes ago. What does it mean for teams to compete here? How does the British Firework Championships rank in terms of all the competitions around the country?
Well, the British Firework Championships is the one that everybody wants to win. Everybody has this in their sights, and they want to do it. And I can tell you, you know, as a company manager, that we have crews. Our crews want to work on these shows. They come down here, they bring huge crews, some of the teams. You know, you can have 12, 16 people setting up the displays. And in fact, I'm just getting another update. There's going to be a further delay, and that's because another fire has started. So they have to put the fires out. We can't start the show until we've got everything under control. So, but going back to it, Plymouth and the British Firework Championships is very much on the international stage. Everybody wants to come to it. It's at a beautiful time in the year. The weather is normally amazing, and in fact it was yesterday. We've got strong winds today, but that's the way it goes, and that could actually happen in any competition anywhere in the world.
And of course, we have a global audience tonight watching all around the world on the Visit Plymouth YouTube channel. And if you are watching in other parts of the world, let us know where you are and post a message alongside the feed on the YouTube channel. And what does it mean if you win this competition in terms of prestige and what it does for your business? But you can obviously flaunt that message that you are a British champion.
Yeah, we'll always be British Champion of Champions. We can take that with us for a long time because we won it, and it will be the same with any other company. You don't have to be Star Fireworks to be that. Every 6 years, there is a British Champion of Champions competition with the winners from the past 6 years, and they will battle it out, and everybody wants to win that as well. And that's something that's replicated in other competitions around the world as well. I think it's very exciting.
Now, we're seeing on our big screen here shots of the Amérique Brittany ferry, which is just departing. If we shout loud enough, Plymouth, they might hear us on board. Let's wish them a bon voyage. Goodbye to the Brittany ferry that is just leaving. And thank you, of course, to Brittany Ferries for sponsoring tonight's competition and last night as well, this year's British Firework Championship. Quite an impressive sight as the Amérique leaves Plymouth, heading out. We saw it coming in earlier on, actually, and it was a very impressive sight coming in during daylight. I would guess this is a bit of a a tricky departure tonight for them with all the other boats on the water, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my first holiday memories is actually going on holiday and sailing on a Brittany Ferries ship to France. And the colour of their logo, with lots of multicolours, we're certainly seeing that reflected tonight.
Well, hopefully, despite the display delays, we're not too far away from display number 3. Let's find out a little bit more about Electrify.
Hello everyone, my name's Kev, I'm from Electrify Pyrotechnics. We're based up in Derbyshire, so we've come quite a way to come down and do this display. We've got lots of new products for you to see, all been imported from China. So we've got quite a few bits that are new. There's lots that are going to be colourful. There's a few quiet sections, but hopefully you're going to be really impressed with a spectacular finale.
Okay, so they're building it up, Andy, to a spectacular finale, Electrify. A few quiet moments as well. What have you managed to glean from them about their display, the highlights that we should be looking out for?
We're under a minute away from a big start with a volley of shells. We've got some 8-break Sampio shells in orange and crackling, which come from Italy. Amazing. Colour-changing slice sections, so slices of fireworks that will make a fanned effect across the base of the display. Lower down, that one will be ring and shape shells. We saw some of those as well in the first show tonight. And the finale, I'm told, is massive. It's brocade, which is the gold and trailing effect, and red strobe. But the countdown's on. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go, Electrify. What did we think of Electrify? Let them know what you thought. What a fantastic finale. They promised us a spectacular finale, and they certainly delivered, Andy.
Yeah, Ian Brooks and his team out there on the breakwater, I think, will be really chuffed with the way that that display came off. What a big finale, wide. And it just kept on going, didn't it?
Yeah, massive.
It was changing. It started off with the gold and then went into the red strobe, big finish at the end. Such a long-lasting thing. But it also, you know, we started off here. This is the red, white, and blue sequence that was opening with lots of volleys of different shells there, filling this sky with patriotic colours. Then they went into, they had a really interesting shell during the show, a lovely ring shell. We had coconut pistol shells, all of these coming up, and ghost shells. I have never seen so many ghost shells going off one after another, except in Japan, where they invented the ghost shell pretty much. And the rings as well at the end. Very, very special. But look at this. Lovely colours there. Lovely, lovely colours. There's that ring shell. You see that it starts out with the kind of Farfallus silver effect coming out, and then goes into red crossettes and a ring on the outside.
Now, the challenge for the judges, of course, as we pointed out...
If I can just interrupt you.
Yeah.
Here's one thing. We did see in a couple of places in the show that we had these gold horsetails against a bright red effect, and you know,
they sort of disappeared a bit, didn't they?
There is that risk.
Yeah. I was going to say the judges now have the difficult decision of going through all 6. We mentioned earlier on that they will get a refresher of last night's displays, and then they will come to a decision after assessing tonight's as well. The thing is, have you seen, in your view, a winner tonight or a winner last night? Is it between one from last night and one from tonight? How would you assess the overall 6 teams?
I think it probably is between one from tonight and one from last night. Yeah,
Okay.
They've got a difficult position. They've got to look at all the plus points and any negative and weigh it up as well. But yeah, we saw some amazing product last night, and we've seen some amazing product tonight as well.
I don't envy the judges. I don't know where they're going to begin in trying to
Well,
work out who was the best out of all of those.
There's 3 different panels, aren't there, tonight? So we've got the lay judges from local people who aren't experts. And they're really getting the wow factor and the impact on the audience. They're here on behalf of everybody that's watching along the Hoe. And then we've got the professional technical judges and also the youth judges as well. And
how would you assess the difference between all 6 of the competitors this year and how they went about their design and their display? How much of a difference was there between all of them?
There was a lot of difference. We've felt different pace with some of the shows. And actually, you know, we can make a comparison tonight. All of the teams had those colour-changing pillar mines tonight, but each team used them differently. And so there are differences between them all. We saw a lot of falling leaf shells, didn't we? But equally, they all use them differently. So here is a classic example on the screen of where those gold horsetails do work, do look beautiful, they do stand out amongst, and they didn't have quite such the bright red that we saw earlier in the display.
How would you assess the launch tonight from a technical point of view for all 3 teams, considering that they were battling these fairly strong winds? We had a few fires break out on the launch site as well. But overall, how was the launch, would you say, from a technical point of view tonight?
I think it went very well. The organisers, the Event Service Association and Plymouth City Council did a brilliant job with the support of everybody that has involved, and particularly with the Harbour Master, who has to keep the whole area clear and safe for everybody. The teams, all their shows fired. We went through to 10 minutes on all of them. It didn't appear that any of the firing systems were compromised by fireworks bursting at low level, perhaps shattering some of the cables or anything. So I think overall we've done really well, and the same last night, but of course we didn't have the wind last night.
This is putting you on the spot a bit now, and thinking back over all 6 displays, was there one standout moment? It may not be that means that's the winning team, but was there a standout part of a display that you thought, yeah, technically they really hit the mark there?
There were lots of technical points in Team 3's show yesterday, but also we've seen some amazing fireworks tonight. I can't get out of my head those big silver waterfall shells that went all the way from very high up, all the way down to the bottom. We've seen some amazing finale, haven't we, tonight? That one at the end there went on forever. Last night we had the gold that went into the silver, and then the silver strobe with the noise. We saw those special cakes, those barrages at the end of tonight's show, which were really stunning. The big flashing, crackling, flashing, glittering, noisy effects that we saw down below. It was beautifully layered, the finale tonight on the last show.
What will you take away from this in terms of the current style, the current sort of feeling amongst those who put on firework displays, the trends that are really emerging at the moment from firework displays?
The UK fireworks industry and the fireworks industry around the world has been through a difficult time with COVID. They didn't operate for 18 months, and that was a very tough time. They literally could do nothing. They couldn't do any shows. But now things are really bouncing back, and you can see that teams are putting a big effort. Teams want to compete here at the British Firework Championships in Plymouth. Teams want to win this event. They are putting in some amazing products, probably spending quite a bit of extra money out of their own pockets in addition to the contribution that they get. It's a great competition to come to, very enjoyable. And if you're going to watch a fireworks competition, I can't think of a better place.
Now, we're in that position now where the judges are finalising their ideas, finalising their thoughts before releasing a decision, we hope, by about 11 o'clock tonight. So we've got another half an hour. That official judging process is now underway. What's it like as a competitor? And you've been in this position. What is it like at this moment now? You've done all you can. You've just got to sit and wait.
It's nerve-wracking, I'll tell you that. The teams that have performed tonight have to send representatives over to the presentation ceremony. How do they get there? They're on an inflatable rib, and they come across the water to come to the presentation ceremony, which is held in the Citadel. And all that time that you're on that boat, going across in the pitch black, it's quite an experience. Coming over here, you're worried. They'll all have their spotters in the crowds. They'll already have feedback because they're watching it end on. So it's impossible for them to really judge your display when you're actually on the firing site.
That's an important point as well. How much will the judges be taking on board the cheering and the responses that we got from the crowd here in Plymouth tonight?
I think certainly the lay judges and the youth panel, they will be listening to all of that. They're outside, they're on the top of the Citadel walls, they're overlooking it, they've got the best view and best seats in the house. So I think they will be listening to everything, and that's really, we've had different responses from the crowds on both nights during the shows. Sometimes the crowd has been a little more subdued, sometimes they've been absolutely raving about it, and the judges will hear that.
And in terms of the response you hear when you are over on the launch site, now I realise tonight the wind was sort of blowing probably the sound away back towards us, but how much do you hear, if you're over there as a competitor, how much do you hear the crowd and their response over on this side of the water?
You can hear nothing.
Nothing at all.
You're so close to a huge firework display with over half a ton of fireworks going off in it. Yeah, you can't hear anything at all. All you hear is the fireworks. They literally stand at the very end of the breakwater on the left-hand side, the land end of the breakwater, and that's where they have their computers and firing systems doing it. Look at those ring shells. I remember this bit. We love those.
This is silver. Electrify, the final display.
The silver glitter at the bottom. We've seen lots of ring shapes, we've seen heart shapes, we've seen smiley faces, but we haven't seen that effect.
They really did put in quite a long sequence with ring effect fireworks, didn't they, tonight?
Yeah, really, really beautiful. Look, they're doing it with red strobe as well, and blue rings. You know, when I was told earlier by Ian Brooks that we've got a ring shell sequence, sometimes there's ring shells and there's ring shells. These have really done it properly.
And this was sort of the preliminary moment before their finale. They were building at this point to their finale. Here we go. This was the beginning of the end for Electrify's display, and what an end it was.
It just went on forever. We're starting off with a big classic Plymouth finale with the big brocade crown shells, as they're called, with tails. You can see these lines going up from the firing site up into the air. That's the tail effect. that's just stuck on the outside. Now they're introducing red shells there, a big red strobe sequence that's filling, but the brocade crowns are still firing off there, and it's wide. It's filling the sky, and now we're starting to hear noise as well.
And whether that was the winning team or not, we won't know for a little while yet, but certainly they delivered what they promised, which was a spectacular finale to their display and a spectacular finale to the 2023 British Firework Championships here in Plymouth. Your overall impressions, Andy, of the whole competition, the whole 2 nights, how's it gone?
I think it's gone really, really well. We haven't had any rain, so that's a blessing. It's been nice to attend. We've seen 6 wonderful shows from 6 fantastic companies that have really put in a lot of effort into producing their shows. And I think everybody that goes home that has come down to watch here at Plymouth Hoe and on all the surrounding hills at Jennycliff and all around will have really enjoyed themselves and had a very special night. But as to who's going to win, we have to wait and see.
Well, Andy, as always, thank you so much for all your expert guidance, your passion and your love for fireworks. It shines through. Thank you very much again for being with us this year. And thank you for watching. If you want to know who has won the British Firework Championships of 2023, whether it was your choice or not, keep an eye out for the social media feeds from Visit Plymouth and Plymouth City Council and probably Brittany Ferries as well. We hope there will be a decision in the next half an hour or so. So sometime just after 11, we might know who has been crowned the 2023 British Firework Champion. In the meantime, from all of us here in Plymouth, thanks for watching and good night.